Bernie said he's already staying in the race. I think he has a very, very good possibility. I think the chances are that he becomes Democratic nominee, especially when the indictments hit, and I think that she will get indicted.
Separate from Hillary Clinton, because I'm open that I lean towards Bernie. I constantly have to deal with these Twitter assholes who, oh, you're biased. Journalists aren't supposed to be biased. Where I respond
Yeah. Tell them to read Slate. If journalists aren't supposed to be biased, tell them to read Daily Beast or Slate.
My whole point, and maybe I'll do a video. People confuse what bias is. Every journalist is biased. That's why you got into journalism, because you have a bias for certain stories you think are important, certain causes, certain whatever it is. The problem is people have a right to decide what they want to watch, what they want to read. So if I say I lean towards Bernie, but I will not be fudging facts to support that, people can watch me, read me, or not. But when you're watching something and you don't know what their bias is, that's when it's a problem.
Exactly.
The CNNs of the world. Carol Costello is a great example. After 30,000 people in Washington Square Park, she says, for Bernie, she says, oh, but they were mostly Occupy Wall Street members and NYU students. I digress. But one thing I've seen more and more on the campaign trail, having worked in cable news before, I think there's another element that when you're a TV news anchor or you're a Washington Post columnist, New York Times columnist, you're making a lot of money. And you are the Morning Joes of the world are pretty far removed from what people in Elkhart, Indiana, living in a mobile home, a woman I interviewed, or even early in their career journalists who aren't making tons of money. They're very far removed for what's going on. So to them, what they're wrapped around is the horse race. They're all today. It's like a cesspool. Donald Trump fires campaign manager. Still not to mention that there's a leaked memo out that shows collusion between Hillary Clinton and the DNC. I guess what I'm asking you, do you think it's a class thing, why our media is so establishment, a money thing? Or do you think there's other elements in terms of, okay, well, the pressure in their defense, there's so much pressure to break news, there's so much pressure to be first, there's so much pressure to land the interview with the big name that they can't really be that aggressive.
I think that it's a combination of a class thing, a money thing. I think that also there are topics that, for example, liberals or progressives have completely ignored, like foreign policy. I also think that, like Clinton's a neocon, nobody says anything about it. I also think that, and this touches upon what you're saying, there's a reluctance to take a stand. And this reluctance is because, people are completely jaded, and especially the media. The media also shapes public opinion. So there's even people in the media saying, you know what, I think that, this certain person, or Clinton, for example, is too big to jail, too big to indict. I think that when you have that type of jaded mentality, it promotes a narrative. And the narrative is that power or brand name. So if, the Clinton name is a very difficult thing to critique for a lot of people in the media, because then they'll have to experience heat. So if you type my name, there's a whole bunch of hit pieces on me. Okay. For example, I wrote an article about Rand Paul. This was in 2014, only because, it was only because an anti-war stance that Hillary Clinton is a neocon. So the foreign policy aspect, and I wrote about that. It was one article, and then boom, everyone went crazy. But the point, and I also wrote about O'Malley and Warren and all that. But the thing is, when you take a stand, any type of stand nowadays, you're going to take heat. You're going to experience a backlash, and you've experienced it. Anyone who has defended Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2015 has experienced a backlash. People saying, oh, it'll never happen. You're dreaming. You're a Bernie bro. Susan Sarandon is an example. The Daily Beast has the most vile, sexist articles on Susan Sarandon. Now, you talk about the Bernie bro myth. Look up what the Daily Beast, type of articles they say about Susan Sarandon. Okay, just because she has an opinion about Clinton and she supports Bernie Sanders. The same thing when Nina Turner, for example, Terrell Jermaine Starr has a piece where he interviews Nina Turner, and Nina Turner said when she went from Clinton to Bernie Sanders, she experienced a backlash where two women went up to her who were Hillary supporters and said, "Your career is over, and after all we've done for you, how could you switch to Bernie Sanders?" So people don't want to. I think it's a class thing. I think it's a money thing. But also, look, in the media or in politics, you're going to take heat for taking a stand. And a lot of people don't. I mean, there's not a lot of people like Nina Turner or Tulsi Gabbard or, people in the media like you or the Young Turks or Tim Black who are taking a stand. People don't.
And let me tell you, I mean, it's a risky thing.
It's a risky thing.
I'm a confident person. I think it's going to work out for me with the Young Turks. But if it doesn't, it might be slim pickings. I'm going to be honest. But it's definitely, Nina Turner. I interviewed her the other day. She took a big chance. So it's not just about who you are professionally. It's about who you are as a person. Because some people are frankly just more ballsy and more courageous and more I need to do the right thing rather than the convenient thing. So I see what you're saying. Last question. You look at moving forward, whether Bernie's president or not, it's not like the lobbyists. It's not like corporate America is just going to bend down, wave the white flag. If Hillary Clinton's president, of course they're not. What is the next step? We know Bernie's movement. I was just at the People's Summit. It's not slowing down. But for media and figures like us, is it an inside game where I continue tweeting out and getting in fights with the Michael Tomaskis of the world and all these people, or is it just let them slowly die and us keep doing our thing? What is the game plan for independent media and also viewers who might want to become journalists themselves?
Well, I think the game plan, let's say Clinton becomes president. I believe Bernie still would become Democratic nominee, but let's say she becomes president. Then we find out if she was really pulled to the left. So people say it was good that Bernie, pulled Clinton to the left. That was really great. We'll see if she promotes the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We'll see if, God forbid, there's a terrorist attack, and the next day she sends Americans abroad to fight in the same counterinsurgency wars where close to 7,000 Americans have died. 50,000 Americans have been wounded in combat. Over 1 million veterans have been injured. We have a veteran suicide epidemic. So we'll see if she continues these wars. We'll see what she does with Keystone. We'll see what she does with the environment. There's a lot of things. I mean, in terms of Wall Street, for example, if let's say there's a financial collapse or something similar, or how will she react? Will her behavior correlate to the hundreds of millions that she received from Wall Street? Will her foreign policy correlate to the neocon advice that she's already getting, or Henry Kissinger's advice? So, I mean, the thing is keeping Clinton honest, and of course, just doing the same thing that we're doing. I think Bernie Sanders represents something very profound. I think that he, as an individual, represents something fantastic. But he has started a progressive movement that's very powerful. And you have Tulsi Gabbard, Nina Turner. You have people out there that hopefully will continue, and I know that they will continue what Bernie has started. So I think that's the next plan. If Clinton becomes president, we'll see if she's that progressive that gets things done.
I know you're an actual progressive who's getting a lot of shit done, a lot of shit that they don't like, which is a-okay with me. So where could people find out more of your work?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. It's HA Goodman. And then my website is hagoodman.com. And, I'm published in the Huffington Post, Salon, The Hill. I just really appreciate this opportunity, Jordan. Thank you so much.